Thanks, everybody. So we are in the last, but we wanted to bring up this discussion that's a little bit different from others groups. We wanted to make a statement here. It's important that we have a guidance of who can benefit from this knowledge and from these applications. So the main idea of this working group is to have a source of information and a source of sharing information with the main stakeholders that could benefit from what we are doing here and how we can be impactful on society. So.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just click on, maybe if you click that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So we are very in a preliminary stage. We had only one meeting, so everyone that could join, just join us. The idea is to collaborate and to understand how we can discuss and open this discussion to society. So now I'm here leading up to now, and Juliana from UK also. And Oli is also with us, Sanitang, Michael Spilka, Lena Malaniapam, Leonardo Palmeira, and Maria Tavares from Brazil also as well. So briefly, the idea is to discuss the ethical and the procedural basis for the clinical use of these innovations in this field and ensuring the participation of different stakeholders just to have a voice from lived experience and families and mental health professionals, clinicians, services, and also industries that could benefit from this knowledge. And to create this communication channel with this diversity that could guide us on how to conduct applied science that is based on good basic science as well. So as just for inspiration, I just had the contact. I heard this talk from Vikram Patel that made me think a lot about how we deal with different ways to treat mental health issues inside a society and facing epidemiological increases in the rates of different disorders aligning with climate change and migration waves that it's secondary to what is going on. We are dealing with maybe changing of the way that we have this social pollutions nowadays. So I'm pretty worried about how we can deal with language, how we can deal with different languages as well. So receiving migrations, this could impact our ways to feel and to apply this knowledge in a common sense. So a lot of different ideas, and this paper brings the perspective of bringing the center to the debate to lived experience people that could share with us how they are actually dealing and understanding all these advances. So it's more to foster this kinds of communications and how we can deal with that. So we thought on preliminarily on those groups of stakeholders, people with lived experience, families and caregivers, mental health professionals here at so broad concept that could be very interdisciplinary. Industry, just to mention pharma and tech companies, how we can have a healthy collaboration that could make this transfer of knowledge to society, and mental health policymakers and agents and financial support that could guide us on how to advance. So some actions, we thought on establish this good partner of communication with different stakeholders and channels of communications and how to accommodate the different expectations from different stakeholders that could benefit from this knowledge. And for the first point of view, we thought creating a survey that could capture those expectations, helping design experiments, for example, and to create documents that could be useful for each one of us inside this course in psychosis to understand how we can design the experiments and the analysis, align it with stakeholders' expectations. And to disseminate the consortium as well and create an opportunities and funding or to translate the knowledge from different aspects of society. So as first, we will have a talk from Olah that's also participating in this group. Just to mention, we have there in Janeiro a project called Entrelaços. It's a group of peer support with people with lived experience that could help us to understand what they're expecting from this knowledge and how to communicate the scientific advances in a broader audience that should not to be only close it inside the academia, but it reach out to those in a broader sense. So, yeah.
Yeah, so another thing that we think that we should do is to facilitate a diverse channel to reach out to people. If you want to run some PPI, why it's good for researcher? It's good for you because, for example, if you want to apply for a grant, it's usually expected that you did some patient and public involvement studies reported, and that's something that's usually difficult is to recruit people for that who are willing to take part in the studies, but also people who meet the criteria of the group that you actually designed the study for. And it's especially difficult if you want to reach people who are coming from a diverse background, and we think that if we have a point of contact, that's better for everyone, also for the patients who want to have research, and also for people who want to conduct this PPR because you want to apply for a grant and you want to have better chances, or just because you are actually interested in how to make the study more inclusive and more useful for clinical translation. That can be also important for example, industry partners or companies. Because, for example, in my experience, it's also difficult to recruit these people, and you want it because you want to have products that's usable by people who have lived experience and might have mental health difficulties. And the design principles that usually apply in UX not necessarily translate to the people who might have difficulties maintaining their attention, especially when they have worsening symptoms. So that's going to be something that we can facilitate together and just provide a better infrastructure for conducting these studies, especially conducting them online with diverse background. The other thing is to navigate event-led collaborations. Again, why is it good? First, it's good for the science because it's better if something gets translated as good science instead of just relatively lower quality. But it's good for science because, for example, you can apply for grants together with industry partners that can make the grants again more higher chances to win. But if you want to translate your research to clinical practice, it's likely that you don't want to spend a year thinking about whether I should put this task, for example, on the right or the left side of the screen, and you don't want to spend time to create software, develop software, maintain software, or create an infrastructure. But industry can help you there and potentially bring more data to you, and also at the same time, why is it good for the industry? It's way more easier for me, potentially as an industry partner, to reach out to the stakeholder group and ask Natália or ask people in Discourse who would be willing to collaborate than writing everyone who I just could, for example, research online and email, like, hi, do you want to meet for a talk, and then go through who is willing to collaborate or not. And it would be also good that when there is a big effort there and or a lot of studies done to harmonize measurements, outcomes, and protocols. And it would be also nice that if industry research applies some of them, therefore you can compare results that are coming from industry-led research from with other studies that are run by academia. And as Natália said, we have a survey in development. There were some ideas that we put together what could be done there. But if you have other ideas, what we can ask them, feel free to add, and I will decide with them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we have time for some questions to the audience. Yes.
A question which I think we should all be thinking about. NLP tools are kind of developing fast. We have tools available to us now that we didn't have 2, 3, 4 years ago. Pretend you're a young researcher and that you've spent your whole PhD or your postdoc finding some really cool finding and showing that there's a strong effect. And then pretend there's some other tool that comes along in the last year that basically explains a whole lot more variance. I guess I'm just putting this to the whole thing. We face almost an ethical dilemma when maybe this is something that's faced by everyone using different measures for clinical trials. But there's a tension now. On the one hand, you want, you put it very well, you want to get the best results. You want, but at the same time, if maybe the best result doesn't tally with what you were personally invested in. And I guess something, and especially with this, because it's evolving at such a rate. And I think that's something that we as a field should really think about, because there's an inherent, almost a conflict of interest, and it's very normal, but it's something that we maybe should be thinking about.
Exactly. The idea is to talk about it because it's a kind of a parallel development as well. So if you are following the technological advances, some of the greatest advantages and in this technological field is not publishable, and they are not actually appearing in the peer review scientific papers. They are actually impactful in society, and the sources of data are huge. So it's one thing to start to talk about, to have a healthy relationship, and to start to follow those advances in a different way.
Could you go back one slide towards the list of things that you're planning to do? What I was thinking about in the past is, do you have a sort of inventory of companies that are working on it? Are you planning on drafting some kind of?
We are trying to pull out some ideas. It's very preliminary, the questions, and this is a call for help here. So we had just one meeting, and it's just to us to start to think about it and to create some questions. I believe that the survey should be different from different stakeholders as well, of course, and those kinds of ideas, like Gina to mention it, could be more applied for industry, for example.
I think, I have just one quick point. I think if others in the audience, especially just this is the resource, if you're aware of other models for doing this well, or also very importantly, funding mechanisms for fueling something like this. I think that, are you thinking of Precori?
ACMP, we should reach out to the people who did Matrix at ACMP. They came up with, I didn't go to that many sessions.
I did go to that one.
Psychiatry thing, and they had lessons that we wish that we'd known.
Yeah.
And they were very happy to share it, and we should definitely take them very seriously.
Right.
And one of the things was international. It was very US centered, but I think that they'll have a lot of collected wisdom that we should.
Yeah.
I
Great.
don't remember who led it, I think Deanna Buck was one person.
Yeah,
but there
I
were-
took a lot of notes in that
That's-
session.
yeah, that's
Okay.
Yeah. Susan, did you say you have like funding for something like this, or that was something else?
No, I fully connection.
Okay,
Right.
okay.